Problem-based marketing is usually pain-based and it's urgent-based. Whereas opportunity-based marketing is typically your life could look like, feel like, and resemble this. When you have heavy pain-based opportunity, you're usually selling to prospects who are desperate. When you have opportunity-based marketing as a whole, I'm talking about feel right now, you tend to create raving fans, not prospects. And so they're in your world because when they're around you, they feel like their life could be something bigger and better than it is. That's what I want people to feel when they are around my materials. Does that make sense? The second is timing. So this is something I think is pretty important, especially when we're in times of uncertainty. So there's no such thing as a good market in a bad market. There's really no such thing. There is a certain or an appearance of certainty and then an uncertain or appearance of uncertainty. So here's where we're at right now is the world is less certain and therefore we have bear market. Make sense? When the world becomes more certain or they're under the illusion that there's more certainty, we have a bull market. Both markets offer advantages that you can sell inside of. Okay? So you have to, first of all, let people understand that this is the problem that you're willing to help them solve. And then if they have that problem, your job shifts. Catch this real fast. We're going to shift away. If they are still reading, we want to make sure that they understand that now is the right time to solve the problem. When? Right now. Right now. If they feel like they have the problem, that's great news because now is the best time to solve the problem. You know what the worst time to solve the problem is? Tomorrow, later, any other time, right now. So we want to use timing to our benefit. And so here will be an example of this. If, somebody who, tell me your industry and what you want to sell real fast. I know most of you, but I'm going to pick in 3, 2, 1. Who was it? I can't see you, sorry.
Martial arts is the industry and it's our mastermind.
Martial arts. So is it growing martial arts schools?
Pretty much.
Okay. So, in times of economic uncertainty, I'm trying to look at you and that light is just like an angel of God. It's like, is that an archangel? In times of economic uncertainty, people cut the peripherals. And so the wife will keep the hair appointments and the kids will keep their tuition, but the extracurriculars are going to be cut. This is good news and bad news. The bad news is we're about to get even more uncertain and the cuts are going to go even deeper. The good news is, all right, see how we just use timing? Make sense? Let's talk about believability. Can we? Can we move on? Believability, there's 2 types of believability. The first is it possible? The second is it possible for them? This is where copywriters tend to miss it. An amateur copywriter will just go claim heavy and they will try to overwhelm the audience with proof that the product works. A mature copywriter will overwhelm the market with proof that they can do it. That is a very different type of believability. Make sense? An amateur copywriter will try to overwhelm the market with proof that the product works or that this works or that or whatever. But a mature, lethal type of writer will overwhelm the market with proof that they personally can do it. So once you believe in math, it's pretty easy to just like count and stuff. But you have to then convince the person that they are actually capable of doing what the math suggests. So I see a lot of people who try to hack this. Just a small, similar, like soft distinction is in this, and I'm a feel guy, okay? So like, I am like all philosophy. Everything for me flows from like, what do I believe about the world, and all the tactics come from that. So it's very different. And I will just throw this out there. I am just like you. False. It's not what you want. I was just like you. That's what you want. So you want the feeling that someone gets if you're selling from a position or a personality. You want the feeling that someone has after the end of the letter or at the end of the VSL or end of the page is that this person was just like me and now they are not, and here is how. Okay? Make sense? You can substitute that if you're like super B2B by these businesses were just like you. Believability. Any questions on this?
Would you say that one of the best ways to do this is to figure out what are the biggest FAQs or main objections and then handle them preemptively in our demonstration? It's basically say, in my example is like, well, I don't know how to do consults, or I don't know how to do educational material probation, so I don't know how to do marketing. I've never done it before. These types of things. So it's basically showing them examples of people who got the end result with those constraints or circumstances.
Yeah, but baked into a story. Yeah, baked into the story. Because when we get to this value piece, we want them to be reading and learning something from it. We don't want them to read it and feel like they're being convinced of something. So it would be similar to, like, let's say that you know that your market does not believe that they can do something because they don't know how. Well, Dr. Susie, same exact situation. And let me tell you how she fixed her situation. And then you give them actual points. So they feel like they're really learning, and they are. They don't feel like you're trying to overcome a belief. Make sense?
Yep.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, which is more powerful, the first person or third party? Questioning your clients.
Oops.
Do you prefer first person, I was like this, or third party of our client was like this, or Susan or whatever?
So right now, I think it depends on the brands. Right now, we're pretty first person because I'm pretty tied into the brands. But there will be a day when it's not Taylor Welch's wealthy consultant. It's the wealthy consultant, and Taylor gets to sometimes get a mic on stage and talk. So from that point, it will substitute to either a third person or it'll be someone else who's coming from first person. I think it depends on what you want. If you're more corporate, then first person is going to be a little bit different. If you're not corporate and you don't have the market that's pretty bureaucratic, if you're going to consumers or straight to the market, first person works pretty well, even if it's not you. Yeah. And by the way, for you, if you have any thoughts to add, you can add them as well.
One thing I wanted to ask you, because I think it's like just relevant to you as well. So the service that I'm trying to sell is just like ghostwriting for newsletters. It's like a very specific style. The way I focus is like what I was telling you during that break is like, we're not focused on just pitching the shit out of the list. We're focused on building like a really awesome relationship.
How much do you charge?
$5K a month.
I mean, you should get some clients from the room.
Yeah, probably.
So,
Maybe good. But like,
you want me to sell it for you?
go for it. Yeah. but the question I want to ask, because I
Sorry.
talk about this a lot with,
Okay.
with like these rosy claims. Everyone's like, I'll get you 15 clients or you don't pay, or I'll get you this many booked appointments or you don't pay. And I don't really know how to tell people that it's like, look, like, I don't know how many clients you're gonna get, because I don't know the health of your list. You may have just been abusing the shit out of this list for the past like 6 months, and everybody's just dead on that list, basically. Also, like, it's a long-term game. Like, someone that's gonna sign up for a month or 2 months or 3 months or something like that isn't a good fit. I need someone that's thinking like, kind of almost like what Rosie was saying with content. I'm thinking in 3 years. That's what they're thinking, and it's like, that's not super attractive on the ads though, because I'm looking at what
If
my
that was your
customers do.
VSL, I would have bought right now.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say you should just tackle that head on.
Just say it straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the number one thing I'm seeing everyone doing that. I mean, you guys tell me, is it like you're kind of sick of those claims and guarantees? All right, cool. That's good feedback.
Yeah, you should just tackle it head on. A good rule of thumb is if you can see the majority of people doing it and you do the exact opposite, you're probably going to be safe. So that's for quite a lot of people, actually. Any other questions we want to tackle before we keep going? Relevancy, problem and timing, believability is possible for the claim and possible for them. And then uniqueness. This is something that's pretty cool. If we were to break it down, let me give you a couple of numbers. Number one, newer. You guys remember what Blake was saying, that the new thing is oftentimes more compelling? I think that this is actually Gary Halbert's. Do you remember if this was Gary Halbert who said the most powerful promo is the brand new thing or the updated thing? I think it was Halbert who said this. People freak out about new stuff all the time. And so you can have a new car that's a worse car and people will still pick it over a better car that's not as new. Number two is faster. I'm covering the whole landscape. I'm not just covering marketing services. Is the product faster? Does it work faster? So can you make something happen quicker than your competitors? And if you can capture the advantage there. Number three, better. Better. This is better quality, better experience, just better. Got that? Number four is cheaper. There is such a thing as undercutting the market, and I do it all the time. All the time. I love that there are people in the business world today that think you have to be the most expensive because they give you a very easy vulnerability. Just be cheaper. Preferably the cheapest that you can possibly tolerate. This is true with products. It's not necessarily true with services unless you have some sort of technology or systems. But how many of you have tried something just because it's cheaper? Seriously. All the time. Yeah. Have you guys heard of this site called Amazon.com?
Can you spell that?
That was Bezos' whole thing, is how do we get this thing so cheap that people forget they're subscribed and it turned into Amazon Prime. When you're subscribed to Amazon Prime, you don't buy from Barnes & Noble. You don't even go to the store anymore. You're subscribed to Prime. I'm already sending them money. Might as well go to Prime. Notice this is a relationship tool. If you can get in the door and you can do it cheaply, people already have a relationship. It's the race to relationship. So it's a good thing for us to try to make our products cheaper if it's strategic. Number 5, safer. How would I translate safer to the services world? Is it more predictability? Better guarantees if you need them? Is it safer? People think of safer and they're like, well, I'm not selling cars, so I can't use this. False. You can make your experience safer for the user, less risk. And number 6, custom. What does this mean? Tailored, bespoke, stunning. Have you ever been comparing different products or businesses and went with one because they had people that they had served that were like just like you? What you're probably buying is somebody like me who is showing you something that seems custom, or if it's one-on-one, or if it's some type of service, like Ed, you do this, you're customizing what you're selling, you do this, you're customizing what you're selling to the exact goals of the end user. I was at an event last week in Scottsdale and I was speaking, and we were just at a dinner the night before. And one of the people there is training their sales team on something. And he was like, yeah, I started telling my salespeople to ask at the beginning of the call, if you bought this product, what would a perfect experience look like and feel like? At the beginning of the call. And then they wrote that down, and at the end of the call, and I was like, crazy, right? So you can do this in a way that is ethical, because a lot of our products and programs and tracks, right? Like they have so many different components in them. Like if I was on a sales call with Todd and he just unleashed his brain, I would die. I would just fall over.
Last time I gave a one-sentence answer.
The one time you've ever given a one-sentence answer was when you were needing me to know the context. But a lot of you got to understand, like if you were to unleash the torrential downpour of your entire experience, you're just shoving people away. They cannot handle it. So you need to understand what the user is asking for, and you can customize it as a competitive advantage. If you do this enough times, you can do this on sales pages. So have you ever heard of Ryan Levesque? The dude invented one of the coolest things. I don't know if he invented it, he perfected it for sure, called the survey funnel or the quiz funnel. And the reason that it works is because it's customizing the message to the problem, the pain points, and everything that the user wants.